The adult beverages are poor, the kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 7-month-old and a 2.5-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 7-year-old and a 4.5-year-old, almost 5-year-old.
Yeah, I mean, like 7 months, 7 year. same ball game, right?
Basically.
Oh, he's so close to a year. It's coming up. How is it already a year? Like, I'm so confused.
Now comes the fun part where you have to have a birthday party that's different from your first.
There was the other son's birthday's coming up, actually, and the daycare is going at all the other kids go nuts. So they'll have Paw Patrol theme, they'll have Frozen theme, and now they're kind of looking at me, and it's like, hey, what's your theme gonna be? And I was thinking, popsicle stick in a plastic bag. How's that? You get a popsicle stick, and you get a popsicle stick. Enjoy.
This is an amazing theme.
All the kids will love it. Don't you even worry about it.
I'm thinking something generic, non-branded.
No name apple juice, everybody. Enjoy.
Go in the big bucks.
It has extra associated costs, but that was an interesting couple things with kids. So we record this late again because our nightmare hell ride with nights continue. But so tonight's episode. So firstly, one cute thing that's happening that I actually really enjoy is for any Canadian listeners, you'll remember Sharon, Lois, and Bram.
Yes.
Right? And Skinnamarink Dink, right?
Right. Yep.
So my son's birthday song is now Skinnamarink Dink.
Okay.
Which is awesome. Like, I really like it. Like, it's a little joy for me. So the last thing we'll do before he goes to bed is like, okay, time for your goodnight song. Skinnamarink Dinky Dink, Skinnamarink.
Did you have to look it up? Because I remember it like out of my head, no problem. Like, it's ingrained in my soul from...
Oh, yeah. And any Canadian between the ages of, I think, 25 to 45, you can't help but not sing that song. And also, apologies for listeners, because now you're singing it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But that's a really small note, but that's actually a joy. That's a dad joy. I got something.
Good.
I get to sing Sharon, Lois, and Bram. The other one was kind of like this public acknowledgement in some ways, or recognition, in the sense that a lady saw the older one running around. So he was bolting all over the place, and the comment is like, wow, he has a lot of energy. It's like, yeah, yeah, I know.
You don't know.
It's like, oh, you should take him to the park. It's like,
whoa.
And it's like, I'll say sorry, and that came out wrong. She wasn't really condescending. It was more just like, it's like, oh, do you take him to the park? It wasn't, so it's not that type of story. She wasn't being mean about it. It's just more, it's like, so why don't you, do you take him to the park often? And it's like, I've taken him to the park 3 times today. She's like, oh, okay, well, maybe you should take him to the pool. I'm like, I've taken him to the pool today.
I've done that, yeah.
She's like, oh, so he must eat a lot. I'm like, no, he doesn't really eat a lot of food. We have a real hard time with that, actually. She's like, oh, so he must sleep really well. No, it doesn't seem to go to bed at all. We also have trouble with that. And just silence. Just staring at me like,
Oh, you poor soul.
At some part of it's kind of like, yeah, so this is a little hard. This is weird, right? Like, this isn't normal the way this guy goes. Yeah. It's not just me. You should take him to the park. He must sleep a lot. Oh yeah, he's a real dozer, this one.
Right. Yeah. I thought she was gonna come at you as a, you should really take him to the park because you obviously keep him inside. He's all bundled up with energy and he needs to let loose. No, sorry, ma'am. This thing runs off some sort of energy source. I haven't quite discovered what it is yet.
Yeah, we have top men looking into this, I assure you. But, so that was just, I guess, fortunately, it definitely not that type of story. It wasn't the condescending weirdo parent coming in to give me grief, thankfully.
Yeah.
second one, though, it's this weird impulse, and I don't know if you've felt this one too. I've kind of mentioned it before, and it continues to develop, but my older son, he's definitely coming into his own with imagination. So he'll grab toys, plays by himself, has a great time.
Yep.
And he's in the park just by himself, sand pit. He's got a couple trucks with him, and he's just rolling around having a great time. So he's just playing. And I had this weird impulse where it's like, oh, I should really go over and engage him. Right? It's time to be a dad. Like, I need to go.
Yep. Step up and
gotta interact, and I gotta be in there.
Yep.
But I kind of stopped myself, and it's like, if I'm being honest, like, my actual approach to this would have been leave him alone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's having imagination. Like, I want him to know how to entertain himself, how to play with himself, how to be by himself, right? Like, I don't want to be a constant entertainment machine for him.
Yep.
And I realized, like, ultimately the drive for me to go there and engage with him was more about external pressures, where it's like, if somebody else is going to see me and I'm just like sitting on the side as he's playing, or just, the kind of social pressures we're seeing right now, where it's, it's like, you gotta be there with your son. You gotta be engaged all the time. You gotta be challenging them and talking with them. Like, I don't know if you've kind of felt that same thing, where you've caught yourself specifically feeling like you have to engage them at all times, or even more broadly, like any other kind of social pressure that you realize wasn't your own drive.
Yeah, I've had the same feeling before, and I think you've kind of explained it quite well, where you kind of feel bad that you're not interacting with him, like you're missing out on something, or you could be pushing him further, or giving him direction on how to improve. But what we kind of have lived by and read in some parenting books and consulted with other friends is that you do need that time for them to learn how to entertain themselves, and how to kind of have that imagination and develop it in a way that they know how to do it, without your interference. Because like you said, you don't want to become something that you always have to entertain him. And it will come into play with your second, I will say right now, because my firstborn, my oldest, no problem going to the basement with our play areas. He can go down there, build whatever he wants, make up crazy scenarios, whatever. However, my youngest does not like to be alone, because he's only grown up with a brother, right? So he's always interacting with somebody that's shaping that. So I can see almost evidence from that perspective that I think it's better that you do leave him alone at times, right? Other times I'm sure you're interacting with him, but if he's by himself and having a great time and kind of talking to himself or figuring out stuff, I say let him be and kind of explore that.
See, that's interesting. So I think it makes a lot of sense, like the first versus the second and the timing. But do you think any of that is actually tied to their personalities? Like, if their birth time had been swapped, so your first was your second and your second was your first, or do you really see it as because of growing up with a brother or not?
See, yeah, I don't know. That's a hard call, because I'm wondering if my youngest is shaped that way because of it. Do you mean like my oldest talks a lot? He controls the conversation. He asks a lot of questions, and he always has to say something. He always has something to say, and he kind of overrides my youngest. So I'm wondering if that's shaped him to become more passive versus jumping in. Now experiment time, because when they're homesick, so one's homesick, my youngest, and I don't have my oldest around, he's a very different person. He's talking to me about other things. He's making up his own stuff. Now he still won't like being on his own. He'll want me to come see something. Or if I tell him to go play, he doesn't want to play. He wants me to do something with him, whether or not it's read a book or whatever. He wants me there. But if I say, go watch TV, no problem there. It's more about the entertainment, physical, like he doesn't know what to do. So I don't know. I think it's a hard call, but I can see kind of what's happened with our family is that's what we let our oldest kind of figure out what to do, and our youngest never really had the chance to do that.
Yeah, he's fascinating. Just It's not like there's any ramifications to how you parent. So
No, it's just now you have to just kind of adapt and go forward with it, right? So I wouldn't. I still see the social pressures though. Like you should be there, and people are kind of looking at you side-eyed if you're on your phone or reading a book or whatever.
It's a confusing time because I don't know if you've ever seen this, an image online. I think some parents or teachers giving a presentation, and it's like how to raise a kid like nowadays. And it's take care of their physical and emotional needs as well as ensuring that they're fully developed while not over-interacting, ensuring that they're well-fed but only have gluten-free and healthy fats but not too much, and no sugars, da-da-da.
Right.
And then for like how to raise your kids like 10 years ago, it's like, I don't know, feed them sometimes. and not the silly argument like, oh, it's so much harder today, but more just with the access to information and blogs and posts and videos, just everything else. Like it is certainly a world of different pressure for a dad. So
I agree. I'm there with you on that pressure.
But I'll switch it to gaming quick, and this is becoming a very Trevor heavy show. But just a lot happening on this side. So the little bit of gaming, which was a pleasure.
As always, right? Whenever you get the chance.
Yeah, that's it. That's the whole update. It's like, it happened. Thanks, everybody. Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh.
It is. You still just feel so... I've killed in total only 4 of the Colossi at this point. And you feel so bad, man.
Right.
Like, that's not... Yeah. There's no victory in this. It is just sadness across the board, which is... done with such minimal aesthetic, right? Yep. Like this is not there's not huge plot, there's not overarching speeches and backstory. It is just like quiet, sad moments where you fill in the pieces and then you murder seemingly peaceful, massive giants.
Yep. I can kind of speak to that as from a design perspective, it's very well done because you're kind of thrust into that game not knowing the backstory. You're trying to figure out why he's brought his dead girlfriend or princess into this place. What has he done? What has she died of? What has she done? And then a voice says, go kill these colossi. We'll bring her back for you. And you're like, all right. And then when you go and do that, I would say death scene of a colossi is like this like somber music comes on and it gracefully falls down and then like goes black and then the energy comes to you. Like it just gets you. Like,
yeah, the music is right on point, man, because like when it falls, I'm telling you, like it's just not celebratory. It is somber. It is a loss. Like you're definitely taking. Like this is very much you're trading these beasts' lives for others. For this girl that you're trying to save,
right? And who are you to decide that? So it's all these questions that pop up. The game has not said anything to you, and I think that's the beauty of it. Again, it's like your own imagination is filling in this story, whether or not you're a good person or a bad person, and questioning your actions.
Yeah, it's a wild title. Like even if people can play it, if it's not really their jam, I could understand it. But if you can get through just killing 1 or 2 of the colossi, just so you'd have, I think from a gaming history perspective, it would be meaningful. Because to see what they were able to pull off, even if you don't like it, I think people would respect it.
Yep. And this was a PS2 game, so like,
that's beyond how on earth was that a PS2 game?
Yeah, even just to get out there and have that kind of grandeur happen on such an old console. Oh, the memories.
They all come flooding back.
Coming flooding back.
Jeff's PS4 like starts to whirl up in the background. Must kill Colossi.
I have to do it.
Otherwise, Hearthstone, man. Like, play some Hearthstone again.
Wow.
I'm telling you, I will pitch it as a great dad game because it doesn't matter. Like, right. you can try
nothing matters.
You can try to raise the ranks, great, good on you. But it's just play some silly decks. It's challenging. It's making you think, which is fun. And these games are like 5 minutes long, in and out.
Yeah.
And there's some level of challenge to it in the sense that you're trying to raise your rank every month. With previous Gaming Dad victory recipient from the previous time, like he got all the way up to rank 5, which is unbelievable. That takes some like real good playing. The thing I was going to ask you about was, I think it's generally accepted that if you play something like Sudoku or chess, there's certain cognitive benefits to that. It's getting you thinking about strategy. You're thinking 6 moves ahead. It's wiring your brain different. I was trying to wonder about Hearthstone. It's not the same.
I was about to say,
not the same benefits.
Where's this comparison coming in?
But is it of the same realm? Because at least like it is this strategy pieces. It is forward thinking and reflexive actions based on how your opponent moves or like against your game plan. Like there's like these parts to it, right? Is there any basing on that, or is it?
I would say that there's some sort of base there. I relate it to my family and I are playing a lot of deck building board games. So that's basically that, just digital form.
What? Name it.
Well, there's Dice Throne is the recent one we have. So you kind of stack your abilities and roll the dice and see what abilities you can measure up and play that card. There's another couple ones. Sushi Go is not really deck building, but there's another one called it's like Starfighter or something, or Star Realms. Sorry, Star Realms, and that's complete deck building where you have to gain units, use those units at a certain time. You can gain like space stations that defend those units, and you have to kind of plan ahead on what abilities to use at what time and what's defensive, offensive, and crunch numbers as you're doing it. There's a bit of randomness to the deck, so you're kind of almost at the mercy of that a little bit, but there is strategy to kind of get around that. And I think Hearthstone's much the same. And I was going to mention that I have downloaded it before, I think when it first came out, and I just never really I never fell into the rabbit hole you did, put it that way. But I was thinking that I could maybe introduce my oldest to it, and I think he'd really get a kick out of it.
Okay.
Because he can play those games on his own with me. No problem. And he's really good at the math part. So I think he could do that little bit of Hearthstone himself and see that strategy come out. And then it's kind of that, almost that digital gratification that comes out of it. Whereas a card game, you just kind of stack the card over the other card and you're done. Where Hearthstone kind of has that, special effects to it. Makes it a little bit more exciting, right?
Man, that's kind of a tricky one. So absolutely. And I think like definitely younger. I've seen a lot of posts from, my son is, 8 and he loves this game, or like my 12-year-old niece like absolutely loves this game. I have some worries about it from the gambling aspect of it. Because you want to get like the better cards, and to get the better cards you have to, there's milestones and you can get money, which you can then buy cards with, but then you could use real money.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't have any of that. Like, he collects Pokemon, right? Which is the same deal, really.
Oof. Yeah, that
it's
is
deck
an expensive
building
habit.
And you have to get, the better cards cost more money, and then you add to your deck and play. So I would lock that off, I think. He could play with free cards. I know they're not going to be great, but at least just experience it, maybe.
What's good is the thing is, so I don't know if he advanced enough that he would watch YouTube videos and then build a deck based on the YouTube video he watched. In a sense that,
yeah, I totally think he could do that.
Okay, because like the deck that I'm running right now is really like relatively successful, but it's entirely free to play. So there's all these series of videos right now that do free to play decks.
Okay.
So it's just like, okay, based on if you're a brand new player, you could use this deck and you can get to this level. By the time you're at this level, you've been able to buy this many packs. So likely is that you have these cards. Like it just brings you through.
Okay.
So there is a free angle for sure. Yeah, I have purchased decks, but I think much like we got to come up with a dad title for this. Like when a game is good enough that you're happy to give them money.
Yeah. Like to invest in it kind of thing.
Yeah, like dad spend. It was dad spend of approval, whatever it is. Like the little soundbite.
Yeah.
Like it's good enough that like I was happy to spend some money on it because it was like, I've enjoyed this so much. It's given me so many hours and it's free to play. Like I'm happy to, here's like $5 and give me the 10 decks. Neat.
Right.
So, Yeah. Anyways, but for them, like if they can do that, I think there's a whole world of free to play stuff. And now I'd be curious if you pull the trigger on that.
Yeah, I'll maybe that'll be a little new dad experiment and just
And
see
how long until he beats me? It's probably a month.
Yeah, ranked game coming up.
But the questions for dads and their gaming, it's always difficult. But some dads have it all figured out, and those dads win Gaming Dad Victories of the Week. Gaming Dad Victory of the Week. Each week, we feature an exceptional gaming dad, and often their kids, who are doing fatherhood and gaming so well. Domination over your opponents. It's a sweet moment for any gamer, but for a gaming dad, it's all the sweeter. And gaming dad Chrichins got himself a taste. The game, Destiny 2, in a player versus player crucible match, within the closing 2 minutes. Chrichin grabs a power arrow and sprints into a nearby alley, setting his sights on the room on the other side, where the enemy is spraying out heavy fire. He aims, he waits, and he unleashes his rocket, hurtling it into the enemy space, throwing an explosion that takes not just a life, but produces a team kill, all but securing the victory. The gaming dad's holler can be heard immediately afterwards, savoring his moment, a well-deserved celebration of his defeat of his foes. With so little gaming time for a father with little ones needing his attention, grand victories like the one displayed here become all the more meaningful. And it's why Chrichins is the recipient of the Gaming Dad Victory of the Week. If you would like to be nominated for Gaming Dad Victory of the Week, or know somebody else deserving, please send along the information to us at our website, newdadgaming.com.
And with that, we go to this week's cheat sheet, where we run down the highlights of what happened in the world of gaming. Another remaster is on the way. The long-anticipated Spyro the Dragon remaster was officially announced by Activision this week. The usual features are all included, with new graphics, updated frame rate, but with this one, you get all 3 retro Spyro titles included, all remastered and redone. You can start controlling the little fire-breathing purple dragon this September for PS4, with Xbox and Switch versions coming soon after. And along with Spyro, the all-new Spider-Man, highly anticipated Spider-Man, will be swinging onto the PS4 this September as well. Insomniac has showcased a bunch of clips showing our webbed hero swinging over busy New York streets and teasing more details over the coming days. However, Insomniac has confirmed that there will be absolutely no microtransactions, which is one detail I am proud to make, and the frame rate is locked at 30 on both PS4 Original and the Pro. You can catch this Sony exclusive September 7th. And the award-winning CRPG Divinity Original Sin 2 is also making its way from PC to consoles this August. This game will support couch co-op split screen and up to 4 players co-op online. If you are in the market for a game that doesn't tell you how to play and allows you to bend the rules of the game world to your liking, Divinity Original Sin 2 might be worth a look. Dads be warned though, I have played the original and I'm clocking in at about 100 hours, so this game can be around the same, so expect to block out some time for you to be able to finish this one. Blizzard has a couple of announcements too. If you're still a fan of World of Warcraft, its 7th expansion, entitled The Battle for Azeroth, now has a release date of August 14th. This new edition promises late-game additions to the world, as well as new activities like island expeditions and war fronts for players to explore. Blizzard has also announced the next date for the Hearthstone expansion titled Witchwood, which will be launching on April 12th. Witchwood will feature over 130 new cards to collect, and you can pre-order now to get access to 70 packs for $50 US. You can also gain yourself a bunch of freebies by logging in anytime between launch and July 10th to claim 3 free packs and 1 legendary class card to add to your collection. And an officially licensed Street Fighter board game was announced on Kickstarter just now, where its goal of $400,000 was quickly met and exceeded by rabid fans. The board game, designed by fellow gaming YouTuber Angry Joe, features exquisitely detailed Street Fighter miniatures that will only be available through the Kickstarter and not be going to retail. The game combat uses a combination of cards and dice that determine character movesets that take place on the game board that feature destructible terrain pieces. So if you're a Street Fighter fan and maybe looking to jump into the board game scene, we suggest you check it out before the Kickstarter closes on May 5th. And on the game release front, I think us gamers got a break from any hard-hitting releases this week, with only the real notable being Skyrim VR is no longer a PSVR exclusive and is now available for PC users to purchase, yet again, at full retail price. Though, from personal experience, I will say it's a must-buy for any Skyrim fan with a VR headset. That's the gaming cheat sheet for this week. Catch a nap and tune in next week for another update.
I have never played a Spyro game.
Oh, you are so... You're in for a treat. Spyro was not childhood for me. But, I don't know, it's PlayStation.
Is it that good? I've obviously, I'll say I obviously played like a demo of it, or like maybe at a friend's house, like putzed around with it a bit, so it's not like entirely
Yeah.
I just call like a definitely under 20 minutes of ever playing a Spyro game.
Well, it's like, did you play Crash Bandicoot? Because it was on that kind of level. Where
right. See, but
similar.
even that, like I had some fun with it, but I don't have like massive happy memories of like and are desperately trying to get that back.
Well, you need to play this remaster. See what you think of it. It's a platformer, so I don't know. It holds a place in my heart. I need to see the little dragon. I need to fly around. There's frustrating parts. I wonder if they've actually fixed them, or if I remember them incorrectly and they weren't as frustrating as what I thought they were.
You're just really incompetent as a
exactly.
boy gamer.
My reaction time was off or something. I'm like, I can't do it. So, oh man, you need to play them.
Yeah, so the Spider-Man, that's fantastic. Like it looks so good. Like the videos.
Oh, so slick. Oh my god. They talked about the web slinging in it. Like they have a whole physics system for it. It's not just thrown in there where you swing from the sky. You actually have your webs touching the buildings and whipping around where it should. So just the details.
That looks so... That seems to be the best capture of what it must be like to be Spider-Man swinging that I've ever seen in any of the games.
Oh, so that's beautiful.
If it approaches the fun of, like, I remember Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 on the original PlayStation.
Yep.
And those were just a riot. Like, if it can have that kind of fun.
Yeah.
Have you seen the video of Spider-Man on the subway?
Yeah. That's like the fast travel.
Yeah.
With it being in the game, and he's just checking his phone.
Hops out of the subway, and he's
yeah,
exactly. The reason I like that is if that's the type of tone they're taking, where they're having fun with it, it's not going to be like overly dark or like they're really trying to like if they're tongue in cheek a little bit, and enjoying it. Like that bodes really well for me.
Yeah, and again with that scene, like nobody's like hounding him, so it's kind of like just like a cosplayer on the subway in New York City. Like no one cares. It's like that's a perfect thing that would happen. It's just you would never know.
Oh, I hope he has some good quips, because like some of the best Spider-Man games is when he had his one-liners, his jokes. Like it's always a riot. So hopefully those subway scenes especially could be a gold mine for that.
Insomnia can just email you for dad jokes. So
I'm ready and willing. I got a whole series just ready to go whenever you need. The Hearthstone, that's cool. Geez. Price is wild though. So $50 for 70 packs. That's not going to get you everything. So
yeah, I wasn't sure.
The math is screwed, because it's how many cards did you say were getting launched? 150?
Over 130. So might be 135.
Geez, so 70 packs. There's like 5 cards in a pack. Oh no,
but they're random, right?
That's the thing. Like you're going to get a lot of. There's no chance you get anywhere close to all of them.
Yeah.
That many packs, so it's like you have to almost like double that price if you really wanted all the packs, if all the cards, if you did.
Yeah, which is a pre-order price, so I guess they go on sale after launch that can be bought separately. But I guess you're saving a bunch doing the pre-order. But $50 US is what, $70 Canadian?
$90 Canadian, $90 Canadian. Yeah.
That's golden nugget. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's
steep. A little steep for you.
Oh, that's super steep for me.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna even approach that. Nope. The problem is like too, like I don't mind like a small little hit every now and then when I want to get some extra packs, or the adventure packs especially were really fun, because that's a solo thing that kind of it feels like it turns it into more of a game in some senses, because it's just an adventure that you alone get to do.
Okay.
Not just player versus player. But the packs thing is, Yeah, like that is too. I don't mind a little bit here and there, but that's just like a yearly subscription fee. That's not even a yearly subscription fee because you're not guaranteed the content. Like
Right.
if it was like you pay this and you get all the cards, still no for myself, but you could understand it a bit more. But it's like that is very expensive casino chips.
Well, exactly, right? Because what's the difference between? Is there a difference between that and a loot box? Like, really, you're just getting 70 loot boxes.
No, there's nothing at all. Like they have some value in the sense that they have a system of dusting. So you can, if you get a card and you don't like it, you can dust it, which just turns it into quote unquote this like magic dust that you can then buy cards with, right? Except some of the cards, okay, you dust this one that's not worth anything. It's like 5 dust. The card you really want is worth 1,200.
Okay, well, so it's not really doing
So
anything.
that doesn't work. Now, if you dust a card that's really high value, you get more. You can get like 100, 400. So just to put that out there.
Yeah.
So at least there's value to it in the sense that like each card, you put money to get the card. The card has some theoretical dollar value.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. Yeah, I've never
stretch.
felt it's been egregious. I've felt that they've, as a mostly free to play player, I've never felt slighted by it.
Okay.
So it's just when these things happen, these new expansions, I'm never drawn to spend the money. Put it that way.
Well, yeah, and I didn't note in the news, but the pre-order, when it went on for pre-order, it broke their system. There were so many people pre-ordering it. So they're still making money off this thing. People aren't really voting with their wallets. They think it's a value to them. Yeah. So
what's cool too is like it's not really necessary. Like there'll be some cards that become really powerful that like you'll see come in the absolute top decks for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But like the deck that I'm running, for instance, that I'm actually have a really good winning rate. Like it's cards from like 2 or 3 expansions ago. Like they're old cards generally. So it's not like this will break everything. If you're going to be competitive or enjoy it, you have to get it. And again, that's something where I think they've done that pretty well.
Okay.
They have started to cycle cards out, which only makes sense because you just can't have.
Yeah, there's
80,000 cards.
Like crazy balance issues coming into play.
Yeah, so they cycle cards out. Although they do again, because they seem to be doing this quote unquote responsibly. They have a whole separate section called Wild.
Okay.
So they have ranked play, and that's where you get most of the points and everything. But then they have Wild, which is just you can use anything and everything. Go for it. Ranked, you can't use some cards. Wild, you can use anything. And they have it. It has their own ladder and everything else.
Okay.
So again, it's kind of like where they really seem to be treating look, their company, they're trying to make money.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's pretty upfront with that, but they're still giving you some nods. Like, look, you want to keep using those cards that you bought?
Yeah.
There's a whole laddering system. There's a lot of people. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, here's your casual play, and then for the pro players, maybe they go this league or something.
Yeah, so it's all about it. So that one's fine. So, yeah, not buying, but don't feel slighted. Should be all right. Man, I want to keep going Hearthstone, but they had released, it was a while ago, so this is old news, but they released a mode called Arena. Wait.
Okay.
Shoot. Trevor, Google something.
What was the Arena?
So I think it's Dungeon Run.
So it's called Arena Dungeon Run?
No, it's not Arena. Arena's something else.
Oh, okay, so Dungeon Run.
Dungeon Run Hearthstone. Yeah. Okay, it's a Dungeon Run. It's a single player thing.
Okay.
So you start with kind of a base deck, nothing of your own deck.
Yeah.
You start with a base deck, you choose a class, and you go into it, and it's just monsters, heroes that you have to fight.
Okay.
And there's up to 10. And they're crazy, like they're imaginative. This guy steals your minions. This guy doesn't react until turn 6. So you better kill him quickly.
Oh, okay, so it's like a boss battle.
Yep, and there's like 10 of them. And there's more than 10 bosses, so like it's a little bit varied, and each turn you get to choose more cards. Here's like 3 more cards, or here's 3 sets of 3 cards that you can choose and you can get into. and here's a buff that you can choose for yourself. So it's an interesting interplay type of thing. Entirely for free. It's fun.
I can see. Okay, so we're talking Hearthstone, but I relate it to Gwent, which is in Witcher 3, right?
Have you played that?
I have.
Of course. Sorry, what a dumb question. Of course you have. That's Witcher 3.
I know. So like some things you have to play Gwent for to get certain equipment and favor of some people in the world. So I guess I could say I've played a Hearthstone-esque game and liked it. So maybe I should go back.
Well, you know that they've released Gwent as a separate game.
Yeah, I didn't really like that. I did download it. I didn't find it as endearing as it being in a minigame form. Maybe put it that way. I don't know. I didn't like it on my console, put it that way. So maybe if I had it on my iPad or something, it'd be a little bit more.
Because I think it's free. I think it would be worth, if you enjoyed Gwent in the game, in the actual Witcher game, I think you might dig it.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, it's funny. There's like a big hullabaloo for people who really want to go deep into the stuff, where there's a very famous card player / Hearthstone player called Life Coach.
Okay.
And he very publicly abandoned Hearthstone for Gwent.
Really?
So he got out. He was a pro in Hearthstone. He was going to tournaments. He was winning tournaments, and he didn't like the direction and how they were handling him. So he quit and he went over to Gwent. And he only plays Gwent professional. Well, actually, so I haven't followed up on him. I just know he'd very publicly quit Hearthstone and moved over to Gwent.
Well, that's interesting. I thought it would be like more of a marketing move with CG Project Red to kind of say, "Hey, come over, play our game."
But I think they might have. It might have been a bit of a coup because I think they probably. Well, the guy was very vocal about his opposition to Hearthstone and what they were doing to them at the time.
Huh.
And I think they probably heard that and said like, "Hey, we got a fun game."
Yeah. Or hey, you can have some little creative say over here. Why don't you just come over here?
When you come out of the world of Witcher 3, buddy.
Way to get sucked into our world.
Give us the monies.
100 hours later.
Oh, there's what. So I have some Hearthstone to get to. Jeff has some Gwent to get to, and all of us need to take care of some kids. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can find us at our website, newdadgaming.com, as well as on our Facebook page, Twitter, and anything else. We'd love to hear from you. You can find the podcast itself on Google Play, on iTunes, on Stitcher, and any other podcasting service. If you have a dad question, if you have a show idea, if you have a suggestion for a Gaming Dad Victory of the Week, we would absolutely love to hear it. And until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 2.5-year-old and a 7-month-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have a 7-year-old and an almost 5-year-old.
The line I was forgetting to mention that was, "Thank you for listening." Hey, you. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
No, Jeff, I thank them first.
I'll double thank them.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
See you next week.
See ya.